Welcome. We are the Ministry of the Real Truth, and we are helping you, Christian brothers and sisters, to quit your addiction to pornography, pornographic movies, literature, etc., and get back on track with your Christian walk, to present yourself holy, undefiled, pure and righteous before God and Christ. This is Easy Peasy, the easy way to quit porn. Contents. Preface. The easy way to quit porn. Painlessly quit porn immediately, without willpower or any sense of deprivation or sacrifice. Note, do not jump chapters. Painlessly quit porn immediately, without willpower or any sense of deprivation or sacrifice. This is a rewritten version of a rewrite adapting Alan Carr's easy way to stop smoking for pornography. It's also completely free and open source. This person is not the original author of either of these books. He's the hack authors. It's very effective but critical to your success, and it requires that you do not jump chapters. When opening a combination lock, you have to enter the numbers in the right order. Addiction isn't any different. Personally, the original Google Sites version, that wasn't written by this particular author, changed his life. If you're anything like most people, you discovered porn when relatively young and have used it ever since. It's become habitual, so it became your addiction over time, until stumbling across the overwhelming yet somewhat censored literature warning of the dangers. Like the author of this copy, you've probably succeeded with streaks of various lengths, but have always eventually succumbed to illusory urges. The author is pleased to report this method works entirely differently and has been the only method that has worked. Or perhaps you've been linked this book by a concerned party and are skeptical. Firstly, thank you for at least looking at it. This will be expanded upon shortly, but please briefly recall the first time you looked at pornography. Did you expect that you'd return to it for the rest of your life? According to this writer's own informal studies on the matter, pestering friends to read this book, Easy Peasy is equally as effective for the casual porn user as it is for the heavily addicted. It's not terribly long, with high chances of large gains, so the author begs you to continue reading. We also do too, especially if you're a Christian habitually watching porn, reading magazines, and it's a problem in your Christian life, your Christian walk. The method described in this hack book is instantaneous, equally as effective for the heavy and casual user alike, causes no bad withdrawal pangs, needs no willpower, requires no shock treatment, aids or gimmicks, won't cause you to replace this addiction with other addictions such as overeating, smoking or drinking, and it's permanent. Well, to replace a unwanted habit, you must replace it with a good habit. You might find this impossible to believe, but this sentiment is echoed by many people. This is a seminal work on porn addiction. Some guy on Reddit, this author couldn't find it, don't think the pun was intentional. This book is gold, it's unbelievable. You can access this content for free. It's a simple book with less than 100 pages. It's also unbelievable how much money this particular person spent on courses and how many hours wasted digging. Regards, no fat for zero results. And there's a name there. And someone else says they were addicted for 10 years. Those 10 years they were crippled with depression, doubt, anxiety and fear of his secret getting out. After every session he hated himself, and after every porn diet He was back down a water slide in no time. However, this book helped him stop. He was always on the defensive against porn in the past. Now, after reading this book twice, he was on the offensive. Porn has no control over this person anymore, and he feels like a sad joke now. Porn feels like a sad joke now. Alan Carr is a top bloke with an exceedingly interesting life. 100 a day chain smoker for over 30 years. Carr stopped immediately after discovering Easy Way, and as quoted from his book, this enabled him to follow an overwhelming desire to explain his method to as many smokers as possible. We have the book, we have the tapes outside, but we stopped by sheer do or die, giving ourselves a method, finding ourselves a method where it was do or die. If you fail, you pay consequences. Okay, i.e. signing to and attesting that if you failed to go out smoking, you would eat or consume a can of gourmet succulent chicken and veal dog food, 185 grams. Yeah, we actually quit in regards to that, through that. But if you get hold of that Alan Carr book, that may work for you. Some things don't work for some, and for others they work wonders. Alan Carr is a top bloke with an exceedingly interesting life. 100 a day chain smoker for over 30 years. Carr stopped immediately after discovering Easy Way, and as quoted from his book, this enabled him to follow an overwhelming desire to explain his method to as many smokers as possible. His methods for alcohol, other drugs, and many other addictions remain global bestsellers, and the author encourages you to check them out. Yeah, we would too if he's doing that. And also Paul McKenna, the hypnotist. His body of work deals with dispelling fear caused by misconceptions and confusion regarding biological processes and quitting. Therefore, a majority of the book is spent logically deconstructing anxieties and phobias associated with quitting that generally lead to the downfall of many who attempt and fail. Carr's clinics have success rates of over 95% with money-back guarantees. More importantly, they've allowed their patients to go on to live fulfilling lives free of their addictions. Why the hack book? Because Alan Carr has long since passed away. Okay, he died. And institutions he's formed don't list internet pornography as one of the addictions they provide treatment for. This author didn't gain monetarily or otherwise. He didn't get money from it. Make a lot of money from it. Hack book, a book based and hacked from another book. The original author is fully credited. Throughout this book, the author, the original hack author, and Alan Carr will appear transparently in order to provide you with a unique and compelling method to easily and painlessly quit. Tips reading. Don't read this book like a normal book. It's very short and you should be able to finish it within a couple of hours. Most people benefit from highlighting or taking notes, and usually recommend rereading it a few times to fully solidify the lessons. So you could probably print this version and then read it and highlight what stands out for you. A number of communities exist for the hack book as well, but we'll recommend checking them out only after you've finished reading this book. Contents. Quick reminder, do not jump chapters. And the author wishes you luck, but as you'll soon come to learn, you don't need it. Good vibes. Hack authors. Okay, it's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribute Share Alike 4.0 international license. Code is GP1.v3. So it was found in the public domain, public access, so there shouldn't be any copyright issues with that. No copyright breach or infringement was intended. Chapter 1, Introduction. Oh, by the way, you can download this for free. We can provide you the link from our source. Chapter 1, Introduction. This hack book will enable you to stop using pornography immediately, painlessly and permanently without willpower or any sense of deprivation or sacrifice. It won't place any judgment, embarrassment or pressure to undergo painful measures. In fact, there's absolutely no need to cut down or reduce your usage whilst reading. Doing so is actually detrimental. what we learned from a church counsellor before he passed was, okay, you've got a problem with smoking. He suggested you keep, he read something about some guy who said he smoked a pack a day, or 5 or 6 packs or whatever a day, and wanted to quit smoking. He related it to General Custer, 7th Cavalry, attacking the Indians. Okay, this guy, maybe General Custer, had become a Christian before that, and some other cowboy or officer approached him and said, George, you're a Christian now, so don't you think you should stop killing Indians? And he said to this guy, I'll stop killing Indians when God tells me to stop killing Indians. So it's in relation to cigarettes. You stop smoking cigarettes as a Christian. This is a Christian related, right? When God tells you to stop smoking cigarettes. Hopefully that's not too confusing. But the whole idea of quitting smoking is you've got to want to quit. As we offered a free program to somebody else that we came across at a work oriented job looking establishment. He said he wanted to give up after 30 years. So he presented to him free, simple method, and he says, I don't really want to quit. I think I'll just continue smoking. It's like, well, you wasted a lot of breath, verbal, telling us you wanted to quit after 30 years, and we realised you have to want to quit. Okay? It's not enough to say, I want to quit. You have to really want to quit. You want to quit more than you need oxygen to breathe, or else you just got to go soft and not do it. This hack book will enable you to stop using pornography immediately, painlessly and permanently without willpower or any sense of deprivation or sacrifice. It won't place any judgment, embarrassment or pressure to undergo painful measures. In fact, there's absolutely no need to cut down or reduce your usage whilst reading. Doing so is actually detrimental. Perhaps this goes against everything you've been told, but ask yourself if what you've been told has worked. If it had, you wouldn't be reading this hack book. Pornography addiction manifests in various ways with far-reaching societal effects. Many people use pornography because the internet allows instantaneous access to supernormal stimuli. Consider if the following questions apply to you. Do you spend far more time viewing porn than you originally intended? Are you unsuccessful in efforts to stop or limit your consumption of pornography? There are porn blockers, add-ons in Mozilla, but they're not password protected anymore. Right, so you can forget the password and you can't see the porn. Some of them affect other websites that you go to, normal everyday websites. It says, this administrator has blocked this. Okay, so you have to shut it off, and then the temptation's there. Right, you're open to watching porn. Or if your children or teenagers are into it, they can simply shut down that porn blocker. So that way, with no password protection, you can't, it makes it harder, right, to resist if it's a habitual thing. Okay? So they really need to create one with a password. Don't know why they got rid of the other ones. Maybe it was intentional. Has time spent viewing pornography interfered with or taken precedence over personal or professional commitments, hobbies or relationships in your life? Do you go out of your way to keep your pornography consumption secret? For example, deleting browser history, lying about viewing porn. Has viewing pornography caused significant problems in intimate relationships? Do you experience a cycle of arousal and enjoyment before and during pornography consumption, followed by feelings of shame, guilt and remorse after? Do you spend significant amount of time thinking about pornography even when not watching it? Has viewing pornography caused any other negative consequences in your personal or professional life? For example, missed work, poor performance, neglected relationships, financial problems, hairy palms, or going blind. If you're a porn user that depends on it for masturbation or sex, all you need to do is read on. If you're here for a loved one, all you need to do is persuade them to read this book. If unable to persuade them, read the book yourself. Understanding the method assists getting the message across and preventing your children from starting. Don't be fooled by the fact that they don't have access to it now. All do before getting hooked. Yeah, we've heard that a lot of school children, intermediate and high school locally, actually use the school internet, the network, to view porn in class, and they can avoid it in many different ways. That shows you that the security system is not that great by the administrators. There's always ways around it though, and they find them. Warning: perhaps you are somewhat apprehensive about reading this book. Perhaps like many porn users, the mere thought of stopping fills you with panic, and although you have every intention of stopping one day, someday, maybe Sunday or some other day, it is not today. If you are expecting this book to scare you into quitting with the various health issues, users' risks such as sexual dysfunction, including porn-induced erectile dysfunction, unreliable arousal, loss of interest in real sex, partners, brain hypofrontality, and the blinding accusation that it's a filthy, disgusting habit and you are a stupid, spineless, weak-willed jellyfish, you will be sorely disappointed. Those tactics never helped the author to quit, and if they were going to help you, you'd have quit already and you wouldn't be reading this book. Conventional methods of quitting advocate using willpower, or substitution methods such as porn diets, using once every X days, and cutting down consumption, which are equally ineffective because they don't actually remove the reasons for using porn. Ultimately, turning something into a forbidden fruit isn't how you treat addiction. Many sites go into detail about effects on the brain, backed up by peer-reviewed research about neurotransmitters and neuroplasticity. While these sites are informative, many are aware of the dangers of porn, yet choose to do nothing. Users young and old tend to avoid such material regardless, feeling safe in the knowledge that one look at our porn site won't kill them. This method, referred to as easy peasy, works differently. Some of the things about to be said might be difficult to believe, but by the time you've finished this book, you will not only believe them, you'll wonder how could you have ever been brainwashed into believing otherwise. There's a common misconception that we choose to watch porn. Porn addicts, yes, addicts, no more choose to watch porn than alcoholics choose to become alcoholics, than heroin addicts choose to become heroin addicts. It's true, we choose to boot up the laptop or smartphone, fire up the browser and visit our favourite online harem. The author occasionally chooses to go to the cinema, but he certainly didn't choose to spend his whole life in the cinema theatre. Originally, curiosity and human nature took him there, but he wouldn't have started had he known he'd become addicted, causing the decline of his health, happiness and relationships. If only I'd heard about sexual dysfunction on my first visit to that porn site. Take a moment to reflect. Did you ever make the positive decision that you must need porn to masturbate, or that you must need porn-induced fantasies to spice up sex with your partner, or that at certain times in your life you couldn't enjoy a good night's sleep, or perhaps even pass an evening after a hard day at work without surfing for porn, or that you couldn't concentrate or handle stress without it? At what stage did you decide that you needed porn, that you needed it permanently in your life, feeling insecure, even panic-stricken without porn, without your online harem? Is it as addictive as the internet? Like, if you don't have the internet, some people are like, I'll die. They say, I'll die if I don't have the internet. What's wrong with the network? Why is it not connected? Come on, I gotta have the internet, I'll die. And that sort of thing. Is it as bad as that? Because everyone seems to be dependent on the internet, right? For entertainment, education, etc. Like every other user, you have been lured into the most sinister and subtle trap that man and nature have ever combined to devise. There's not a person alive, whether a user themselves or not, that likes the thought of their children using porn to cope or for pleasure. This means that all addicts wish they had never started. That's unsurprising. No one needs porn to enjoy life or cope with stress before they get hooked. At the same time, all users wish to continue to use. After all, nobody forces us to launch our browsers in incognito mode. Whether they understand the reason or not, it's only users that decide to knock on the doors of their online harems. If there were a magic button the user could press to wake up the following morning as if they never accessed their first tube site, the only addicts tomorrow would be young people still experimenting. The only thing that prevents us from quitting is fear. Fear caused by the belief that we'll have to survive an indeterminate period of misery, deprivation and unsatisfied craving in order to be free from porn. These spawn from irrational beliefs, both learned and acquired, such as masturbation or sex leading to orgasm is the only and most important thing in life. Porn is safer than real life sex because porn can't reject me. Porn is educative and useful. Entitlement to a superior sex experience. More is always better. These irrational beliefs spawn irrational consequences when acted upon, including worshipping and obsessing when a perfect 10 out of 10 is found. Perceiving yourself as a loser if you miss out on sex, as if it's the most important thing in the human experience. Most people don't realise that it's not, because when you're young, a teenager, peer pressure, you want to be a man, you want to be with the in crowd, you've got to get as much punani as you can, or else your friends, etc., start calling you girly or a fag. Are you a fag? Holding up for a perfect 10. Being excessively judgmental and critical of prospective partners. Forcing yourself to have sex whether you want it or not. It's fear that a night all by yourself will be miserable, spent fighting uncontrollable impulses. Fear that the night before exams will be a night from hell without porn. Fear that you will never be able to concentrate, handle stress, or be as confident without our little crutch, and that our personality and character will change. But most of all, fear that once an addict, always an addict, that we'll never be completely free, spending the rest of our lives craving the occasional porn-induced orgasm at odd times. If, as the author did, you've already tried all the conventional ways to quit and have been through the misery and torture of the willpower method, you will not only be affected by that fear, you'll be convinced you can never quit. If you are apprehensive, panic-stricken, or feel that the time is not right for you to quit, let the author assure you that your apprehensions and panic isn't relieved by porn, it's caused by it. You didn't decide to fall into the porn trap, but like all traps, it's designed to ensure you remain trapped. Ask yourself, when you viewed those first porn pictures and videos, did you decide to come back to view them as long as you live? So when will you quit? Tomorrow? Next year? Stop kidding yourself. The trap is designed to hold you for life. Why else do you think all these other addicts don't quit before it kills their lives? The author has referred to a magic button. Easy Peasy works just like that magic button. He states, let him make it quite clear, Easy Peasy isn't magic, but for him and others who found it so easy and enjoyable to quit, it seems like it. The warning is as follows. This is a chicken and egg situation. Every addict wants to quit, and every addict can find it easy and enjoyable to quit. It's only fear that prevents users from attempting to quit. The single greatest gain is to be rid of that fear, but you won't be free of that fear until you complete the book. On the contrary, your fear may increase as you continue reading, which might prevent you from finishing it. Take this comment from one woman. I've just finished reading Easy Peasy. I know that it's only been 4 days, but I feel so great. I know that I'll never need to PMO again. I first started to read your book 5 months ago, got halfway through and panicked. I knew that if I went on reading I would have to stop. Wasn't I silly? You don't decide to fall into the trap, but be clear in your mind. You won't escape from it unless you make the affirmative decision to do so. You have to want to quit. You have to be determined that you want to quit, that you'll quit. You may already be straining at the least to quit, or you may be apprehensive about the very thought, but either way, please bear in mind, you have nothing to lose. If at the end of this book you decide that you wish to continue to use porn for masturbation or sex, there's nothing to prevent you from doing so, except maybe a porn blocker or something like that, with the password, and then you forget the password. You don't even have to cut down and stop using porn while reading the book, and remember, there is no shock treatment. No one's going to sneak up behind you in white coats and put electrodes on your head and then turn up the power. On the contrary, the author has only good news for you. Can you imagine how Andy de Fresne felt when he finally escaped from Shawshank prison. That's how the author felt when he escaped from the porn trap, and that's how the ex-users who have used Easy Peasy feel. By the end of the book, that's how you'll feel. Go for it. Finally, everyone can find it easy and enjoyable to quit porn, including you. All you have to do is read the rest of this book with an open mind, and the more you understand, the easier it will be. Even if you don't understand a word, provided you follow the instructions, you'll find it easy. Most importantly, you won't go through life moping for porn or feeling deprived, and by the end of the book, the only mystery will be why you did it for so long. With Easy Peasy, there are only two reasons for failure. Failure to carry out instructions. Some will find it annoying that book is so dogmatic about certain recommendations, such as not to try cutting down or using substitutes. The author certainly won't deny that there are many who have succeeded in stopping using such ruses, but they've succeeded in spite of and not because of them. Some people can make love standing on a hammock, but it isn't the easiest way. The numbers for opening this trap's lock are in this book, but they need to be used in the correct order, going from one chapter to the next and not skipping chapters. Failure to understand. Don't take anything for granted. Question not only what you're told, but your own views and what society has told you about sex, internet porn and addiction. For example, those to believe it's just a habit, ask yourself why other habits, some of which are enjoyable, are easy to break, while a habit that feels awful, costs energy, time and virility, is so difficult to break. Those that believe you enjoy porn, ask yourself why other things that are infinitely more enjoyable you can take or leave. Why do you have to have porn panic setting in if you don't? Easy Peasy is about to give you the knowledge on how easy and enjoyable it is to quit porn. Like many others, one of his greatest triumphs in life has been escaping the porn trap. There's no need to feel depressed. On the contrary, you're about to accomplish something that every user on the planet would love to achieve. Freedom! Remember, do not skip chapters. Some terms before you begin. PMO, the cycle of porn, masturbation and orgasm. Online harem, websites hosting high-speed internet porn. Chapter 2, the easy method. This book's objective is directing you into a new frame of mind in contrast to the usual method of stopping, whereby you start off the feeling of climbing Mount Everest and spend the next few weeks craving and feeling deprived. You start right away with the feeling of elation, as if cured of a terrible disease. From then on, the further you go through life, the more you will look at this period of time and wonder how you ever used any porn in the first place. You will look at other porn users with pity as opposed to envy. Provided that you're not someone who has never become addicted, reading from your significant other, or had quit, or is in the fasting days of a porn diet, it's essential to keep using until you have finished the book completely. This may appear to be a contradiction, and this instruction to continue masturbating to porn causes more objection than any other. But as you read further, your desire to use porn will gradually be reduced. Take this instruction seriously. Attempting to quit early will not benefit you. Many don't finish the book because they feel they have to give something up, some even deliberately only reading one line per day in order to postpone the evil event. Look at it this way. What have you got to lose? If you don't stop at the end of the book, you're no worse off than you are now. It's by definition a Pascal's wager, a bet taken where you have nothing to lose and high chances of large gains. Incidentally, if you haven't watched porn for a few days or weeks but aren't sure whether you're a porn user, ex-user or a non-user, then don't use porn to masturbate whilst reading this particular book. In fact, you're already a non-user, but we have to let your brain catch up with your body. By the end of the book, you'll be a happy non-user. Easy Peasy is the complete opposite of the normal method, where one lists the considerable disadvantages of porn and says, if only I can go long enough without porn, eventually the desire will go and I can enjoy life again, free of slavery. This is the logical way to go about it, with thousands stopping every day using this method. However, it's very difficult to succeed for the following reasons. Stopping PMO isn't the real problem. Every time you finish your session, you've stopped using it. You may have powerful reasons on the first day of the once and for porn diet to say, I don't want to use porn or even masturbate anymore. All users do, and their reasons are more powerful than you can possibly imagine. The real problem is day 2, 10 or 10,000, where in a weak moment you'll have just one peak, want another, and suddenly you're an addict again. Yeah, it's like, I haven't smoked for so long, I think I might try it, see how I go, see if I can resist it, right? Okay, etc, etc. And next minute you're smoking a packet a day again. Awareness of the health risk generates more fear, making it more difficult to stop. Tell a user it's destroying their virility, and the first thing they'll do is reach for something to surge their dopamine, a cigarette, alcohol, or even firing up the browser to search for porn. All reasons for stopping actually make it harder. This is due to 2 reasons. First, we're continually being forced to give up our little friend, or some prop, vice, or pleasure, whichever way the user perceives it. Second, they create a blind. We do not masturbate for the reasons we should stop. The real question is, why do we want or need to do it? With Easy Peasy, we initially forget the reasons we'd like to stop, face the porn problem, and ask ourselves the following questions. 1. What is porn doing for me? 2. Am I actually enjoying it? 3. Do I really need to go through life sabotaging my mind and body? The beautiful truth is that all porn does absolutely nothing for you whatsoever. The author here states, let me make it clear, quite clear, it's not that the disadvantages of being a user outweigh the advantages, it's that there are 0 advantages to looking at internet porn. Most users find it necessary to rationalise why they use porn, but the reasons they come up with are all fallacies and illusions. First, we'll remove these fallacies and illusions. In fact, you'll soon realise there is nothing to give up. Not only that, but there are marvellous positive gains from being a non-PMOer. With well-being and happiness, only 2 of these gains. Once illusions that life will be never quite as enjoyable without porn is removed, realising that not only is life just as enjoyable without it, but infinitely more so, and once feelings of being deprived or missing out are eradicated, we'll go back to reconsider increased well-being and happiness, and the dozens of other reasons for quitting porn. These realisations will become positive additional aids to help you achieve what you really desire, enjoying your life free from the slavery of porn addiction. Chapter 3. Why is it so difficult to stop? Can you read on? The sinister trap. The answer is that porn isn't habit, it's addiction. That's why it appears to be so difficult to give up. Most users don't understand addiction and believe that they get some genuine pleasure or crutch from porn. They believe they're making a genuine sacrifice if they quit. The beautiful truth is that once you understand the true nature of porn addiction and the reasons why you use it, you'll stop doing it, just like that. Within 3 weeks, the only mystery will be why you found it necessary to use porn as long as you have, and why you can't persuade other users how nice it is to not be a PMOer. The sinister trap. Nature. The annoying alarm. Crossing the red line. The high from the dance around the red line. The smoker's analogy. And there's more here. Brainwashing. The willpower method. And here's an example of the trap of porn. Pornography trap, and so much more information. Okay, we believe that we've given you enough. Hopefully have driven you, inspired you, motivated you to quit your porn addiction once and for all. So we suggest find this book, download this book and read it. Take days, weeks, months to read the entire thing, and then quit that habitual addiction. Here's the easy peasy way out. There's no brainwashing, etc. Removing the brainwashing graphic. So we suggest click on this link and get it. It's free from the source. It's PDF. Possibly best to use malware AI as an add-on in Firefox to scan it. We didn't have any notification of any viruses in it. So it should be all good. We feel that you should use that malware AI to download PDFs, etc., and scan them, because we did download a PDF without it, probably through a torrent, and we found one Trojan in this PDF, and we removed it automatically with clam TK. Okay, this is a willpower method. It's an accepted fact in society that it's very difficult to stop porn. Books and forums advising you on how to stop usually start off by telling you how difficult it is. The truth is that it's ridiculously easy. It's understandable to question that statement, but first just consider it. If your aim is running a mile in 4 minutes, that's difficult, and you'll have to undergo years of hard training, and even then possibly being physically incapable. But you've got to work on it, right? You've got to work on it every day, every week. Push yourself more. Because Roger Bannister, in the 1920s or 30s, whenever it was, he obviously trained for it and he did it, and then others after him broke his record. Apparently that Roger Bannister was at a train station somewhere, and they reckon he was pushed, and killed by a train. Pushed from the platform. John Walker in New Zealand, he beat Roger Bannister's record under 4 minutes, and there's possibly others that beat his. So we suggest click on this link or look on Google and find this book, but it's probably better to click on the link, download it, the PDF or the torrent, and then read it. If you like the idea of this, because you have a habitual addiction to porn and tugging your Pope, your Johnny, we hope that this will help you. This book will help you. It says it will. It'll end your habitual addiction. So if you like this video, again, subscribe to us, give us a like, add your comments below, please keep them mature, and then go tell all your family, friends and neighbours, today I am stopping my porn addiction and my tugging addiction. No, it's just probably not advisable to do that. But you may have a friend that, as we did, a Christian who said he had a problem with it, how does he stop? And you may be able to help them to overcome that habitual addiction. So again, subscribe to us, give us a like, add your comments below, and share this with all your family, friends and others.